Today on the channel, the best of 2024 countdowns continue with the top 10 AEW Jazwares figures of 2024.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another best of 2024 countdown. And today we got a little wrestling action going on as we're counting down my top 10 favorite AEW Jazwares figures of 2024. And what can you say about Jazwares? I guess a lot to say about Jazwares is, of course, unmatched, unrivaled, ringside exclusives, AEW exclusives, and of course the Supreme line are what we're talking about in this countdown here, lumping them all together. We would love to see more Supremes. Supremes really at a standstill, it feels like. And of course, AEW through some growing pains really the last couple of years. Of course, Staining's still there. You guys know it's the bane of my existence. But they're finally trying to get caught up in some of these figures as they've announced a ton of figures a couple years back. They're finally getting them there. There's been some changes, some stuff, trying to get back on track. And it's going to be very interesting to see where they go in 2025 with Jazwares at the helm for the AEW figures. But there's been a lot of good figures. Say what you will, there's a lot of people I know that have tapped out of AEW figures or maybe not collect them anymore. But there has been a lot of really great figures released in 2024, and you're going to at least see 10 of them in this very video here today. And of course, like all these other countdowns, we're going to work our way down. We're going to start at number 10, and we're going to go work our way to number 1. And number 1 will be my favorite Jazwares figure of 2024. And as usual, this is my list, so it's 100% right. But guess what? Your list can be 100% right. Put it in the comments down below. Put them in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. And we're going to kick off the countdown, of course, at number 1. All right, we begin the countdown, of course, at number 10. And number 10, we go to Ringside Collectibles. Some of the best exclusive figures in 2024 were via Ringside Collectibles, via Mattel, and of course, AEW Jazwares. And this one at number 10 was and still is a Ringside Collectible exclusive. And currently, $7.99 as I'm filming this. And of course, discount code Kyle, you can save 10% on top of that. What are we talking about? Well, we're getting Jericho housing. You know me, I'm a sucker for a guy in face paint, and I love crazy off-the-wall figures, and that's exactly what this one is. A perfect Ringside Collectibles exclusive is this one. Soft goods, wire cape, Chris Jericho, Danhausen crossover. Just a lot to like about this one, and I totally get it. This isn't going to be for everybody. That's why I always say it's my list, but this is right in the wheelhouse of what I love. 4 figures, 4 exclusives, something different than the same old Chris Jericho figure. We got him from his cruise a couple of years ago as Jericho housing. So a fun figure coming in at number 10. All right, we're feeling fine at number 9, and number 9 is another exclusive. This time, though, a Shop AEW exclusive, and it sounds like those are all but done. However, we got a lot of these figures over the last couple of years, and one of my favorites was actually one of the ones that came out early 2024, so maybe some people will forget about this on their list, or maybe not have it at all. But what are we talking about at number 9? We're going to Eddie Kingston, Shop AEW exclusive. You could almost call this a blood and guts figure because it is a bloody figure. And I've always been a sucker for bloody wrestling figures. I enjoy Eddie Kingston's work, out injured right now as we're filming this. But this was a very fun figure that really flew under the radar, it seems like, in all the AEW discussions for best of figures of the year. Maybe it's because it came out in January of last year. That could be the reason. Not entirely sure. But I really like this figure. Yes, it's basically a re-release with blood added to it, blood on a shirt, and a gas can. But sometimes that's all you need to make a countdown. So a bloody figure, of course, going to be high on my list. And that's why Eddie Kingston, Shop AEW exclusive, comes in at number 9. We've hit the number 8 spot in the countdown, and this performer here at number 8 is no stranger to wrestling figures. He's had a ton of figures over the last couple of decades, honestly, but this was his first ever AEW figure, and I have to imagine in 2025 we'll see some more of this performer, and I wouldn't be shocked to see a Supreme edition of this one. But who are we talking about at number 8? Well, we're going to the former Edge. We're going to Adam Copeland, the rated R superstar, as he's known in some circles. And this one is even more special for me because good friend of the channel, Jeff George, and I were front row in Independence, Missouri for the night Edge had his first ever AEW match, and he wore this outfit, and that's what this does depict. So a very cool figure nonetheless, but being able to have the nostalgic aspect of knowing I was right there front and center for that night was a pretty cool thing to get an action figure form here. Now, is it the perfect Adam Copeland? No, it's not, but it's well on its way. I like this figure a whole lot. Looks absolutely fabulous. Just feels like he may be a hair tall, but I can look past that for his first figure. Constant learning, constant improvement, of course. And then the nostalgia factor on this one is really high on the chart. So a very, very fun figure here, and that's why Adam Copeland is coming in at number 8. We've arrived at the number 7 spot in our top 10 Jazwares AEW countdown, and number 7 comes to us from AEW Unmatched Series 9. It is, of course, the future Hall of Famer. It is Jeff Hardy, and this year we had quite a few Jeff Hardys. We do know he has packed up his bags with his brother. They have departed to TNA, so maybe we'll see a Power Town figure in the future from the Hardys. We'll see what happens there. But Jeff Hardy had a few AEW figures, and have to imagine if he would have stuck around, we would have seen a Supreme figure next year. However, out of all the Hardy figures we got, this one is my favorite. Usually I'm a sucker for face paint, just not as cool as the face paint figure compared to this one. And I think the tattoos is what really brings this one to life. As a heck of a job by the Jazwares team. They got one of the hardest jobs in action figures trying to get the tattoos for all these performers. And this one really brings us to the next level. Now, I did like that other Jeff Hardy figure that we got in the 2-pack Amazon exclusive. I unfortunately had some staining issues on mine, like some others did as well. So as far as all the Jeff Hardys we got so far, this is my favorite one we got from AEW. And that's why it comes in at number 7 in my top 10 countdown. At the number 6 spot in the countdown now on our AEW Jazwares year-end countdown best of list. And the number 6 figure, some may be shocked that this is even on my list, as this was one of those videos that made me fuming with anger, as this figure did break in my unboxing. But even with that breakage, this figure was so good, it still made a spot on the list, coming in at number 6. What are we talking about? We're talking about one Julia Hart. Now, the head, of course, neck peg broke on this. We know all AEW figures are supposed to be able to remove their heads. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they messed up at the factory, and this one was not like all the others. So when I went to remove the head, cracked the neck on this one. Now, the head still works on here. It's still fine. I just know deep down in my head that this is broken, and I will replace this one day. I can't live with this in my collection. We'll get that fixed one day down the line. But I wasn't the only one that had this issue. Mark Sterling and others did have the same issue. Jazwares team, I did talk to them, and it was truly a mistake at the factory, which mistakes happen. Hopefully, if they do rerun this figure or release more, they will get that fixed. But taking all those issues out of there, an amazing first time in the line figure. You get the Stevie Nicks hat going on. You get the protective face paint, face mask. I got paint on the brain. Face mask, and then you get the beautiful soft goods robe on this one. There is just a lot to like about this Julia Hart figure. Very, very cool. One of the best female figures of the year, as you guys know if you watched my top 5 female figures of the year countdown video. Check it out if you did miss that. But Julia Hart, part of the whole kit and caboodle for AEW, comes in at number 6. We've hit the halfway point of the countdown. You got your list together. Put it in the comments down below, and of course, put them in order. That's what I always do say. And make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel. Why not? 2 channels with videos every single day, and of course, year-end best of countdown lists. We'll take the winner of this video. They'll be added to the big pool, and we will find out what is the best figure of 2024. So stay tuned to that video in the future. But here we are at number 5. Number 5, first time in the AEW, or should we say Ring of Honor line this time. It is them boys. It is the Brisco Brothers with dog collars. Absolutely amazing figures. Once again, some quality issues, some staining on these bad boys for me, which is really unfortunate. That's the one thing I wish Jazwares would fix next year, is to get rid of this staining. But Mark and Jay Brisco riding for the first time in this style figure line. Of course, they had FTC figures in the past, but beautiful, beautiful figures. Love the tag titles, love the big coats, love the head scans on these. Just a lot to like about these figures. And I'm breaking my rules a little bit, as they really are a tandem here. You got to put these guys together, so they're going to count. They're going to share the number 5 spot is what they're going to do for me. So Ring of Honor Brisco Brothers, number 5 in the year of Best Of Countdown. We're down to the final 4. It's like March Madness, but in December. That's what it feels like right here, as we got the number 4 Jazwares AEW figure of 2024. And once again, we go over to our friends at Ringside Collectibles, using discount code Kyle, of course, to save 10%. But we go to the Ringside Collectible exclusive at number 4. We go to one black and white timeless Toni Storm. Watch out for the shoe, indeed. A fabulous figure, an absolute stunner of a figure. Black and white, always cool in action figures, especially for someone like Toni Storm. You get the shoe, you get the black and white title belt, you get the beautiful deluxe robe on her, very similar to Julia Hart's as well, but just a slam dunk of a figure. And like I said, I would love to see them just re-release this in a colorized edition. I think there's money on the table for that as well. We have seen Toni Storm morph into her former persona, I guess is what's going on, but it would be very cool to get this as a regular color edition in 2025. But man, this black and white one playing all the hits right here, coming in at number 4. We're down to the final 3, the 3 best Jazwares figures of 2024. And the number 3 entrant here is a guy that I have loved since I was a kid. I am a huge fan of this performer. I was very sad to see him retire, but I was very happy in 2024 to finally meet him and get my picture taken with him. Who are we talking about? Well, we're talking about a man called Sting. It was Sting, the Supreme Edition, in the countdown here today at number 3. Is it the perfect Supreme? No, it's not, but dang close it is. Beautiful soft goods with this one. Extra hands, extra heads, all the usual stuff. Of course, a baseball bat as well. Would have liked to seen a few tweaks and changes, but I am not going to shrug off a Sting figure. I'm a little Stinger going way back, and I really like this one. The pinless joints are smooth as butter. I wish AEW, once they get rid of the staining, they would work to total pinless joints across the board. Looks so clean, feels so good. Absolutely love this Sting figure. Still on the store shelves right now. If you're after it, you can pick it up. I would love to see it go on clearance, as I'd pick up another couple of these for my collection if that day does hit. And we'll see what happens after the holidays for that one. But Sting, AEW Supreme, coming in at number 3. Down to the final 2 in my AEW year-end countdown, and some may say the number 2 figure, the number 2 character, maybe is a guy that has all the stroke, and a guy that has had some figures over the years, but feels like he should have a heck of a lot more, and maybe that'll change a little bit in 2025. So for the number 2 performer, we're going to Ringside Collectibles once again for the Ringside exclusive, Jeff Jarrett. Yes, Jeff Jarrett, a fabulous figure, a figure that shouldn't have been this good in all honesty. Absolutely love this Jeff Jarrett figure, and we've really missed out on this kind of era of Jeff Jarrett for a long time. I could even count this almost as TNA Jeff Jarrett, Global Wrestling Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett, a performer that I've been watching since I was a little kid in the USWA. A lot like the Jerry Lawlers, the Eric Embrys, the Bill Dundees, just fabulous punches, just that Memphis style, and really the last of a dying breed. There's really nobody left doing that old school Memphis style of ring work. So Jeff Jarrett, a little bit of a dinosaur in this day and age, and maybe in more ways than one, but very cool. And I definitely do not take Jeff Jarrett for granted anymore, as a lot of us probably did for many years. You know he's got more time behind him than he has time in front of him, and you never know when it might be the end of his career. So it's going to be a fun year in 2025 for Jeff Jarrett. I fully expect we'll get another figure of Jeff Jarrett in 2025, but man, it's going to be tough to beat this one, and this one is why this one comes in at number 2, which means there can only be one. What is the number 1 AEW Jazwares figure of 2024? Well, stay tuned. Here we go. We got the number one AEW Jazwares figure of 2024. Once again, this is my list. Put your list in the comments. Put them in order. That's the fun part. That is the hard part, of course. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel for our best of 2024 countdowns for all the different toy lines I do collect. So a lot of programming to come as we finish off 2024 and even into January 2025. But here it is, the number one spot. And this figure was very tough to beat from the get-go. This came out really early in 2024 and really stuck the landing ever since. Never got my mind off this one, I guess you could say. But we've had some amazing figures from AEW, but this will be the number one. He is a Jazwares Vault exclusive. Dare I say the first Jazwares Vault exclusive. He sold out and never came back again and really set the tone for Jazwares Vault as probably the best performing figure they had right off the gate. Kind of a little ebbs and flows to finish out, but who are we talking about? We're talking about one Malachi Black, and of course a lot of people missed out on his Supreme figure from the prior year. They had an extra special chance to get another Supreme version of him this year, and that's exactly what people dove into. Now I gotta say, a lot of people missed out on this, and I think it's still a pretty hot one in the aftermarket. About a year later, whatever, give or take a time, I guess, when this first came out. But one of the most toyetic wrestlers going today, going back to his Mattel years, now over here at Jazwares. And I said it earlier about one of the figures on the countdown with Jeff Hardy. Man, oh man, the Jazwares team has their work cut out for them for all the different face paint, tattoos, and wild looks for some of these performers. And it doesn't get much wilder than, of course, Malachi Black. An absolute fabulous figure, and one that definitely deserved to be number one in my countdown at least. But I want to hear your countdown once again. What is your number one figure? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, put them all down there. Put them 1 through 10. I want to hear them all. What was missed in your mind? Let me know in the comments down below. And then, of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. Check out my Patreon for even more access to all kinds of stuff. Plenty of stuff over there on Patreon every single day. ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. Check me out on TikTok. Grab my book on Kindle. It is the complete guide to the Jakks Class Superstars series by yours truly. About 700 pages of product right there. And then, of course, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram. So, for Malachi Black and the rest of the top 10, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.